Guys, what's up? PipSnipers here, back for another update. Let's take a look at Bitcoin over here and analyze um, the different things it did during big news events. So over here, back in 2017, you were able to finally trade futures on Bitcoin on crypto exchanges. We then had a crash by over 83%. We then went up for our March 2020 bull market. Coinbase did an IPO. We had crashed by 50%, went back up for a bull trap. Then that's when the Bitcoin futures ETF was released. And in totality, we crashed by over 77%. Fast forward to 2023, we've now made this rally to the upside. And now we have the Bitcoin spot futures, Bitcoin spot ETF being released. So is this is this time different? I doubt that this time is different because when we take a look at this a little bit closer, we not only see that we have a weekly topping tail here. Okay, this is a weekly topping tail right over here. We must assume that this is the top unless we see a weekly closure above this level or a daily closure above the high of this candle. Okay, now there is a very big possibility that we end up making a three drives to a high pattern and the market makers drive this thing up one more time, one or two more times before before we see a really big breakdown. So like back in 2021, you had a weekly topping tail right over here. Okay, your weekly topping tail was over here. We then went up, swept these highs, and then started to fall, form divergence. Over here, this was your everyone thought that this was your top here. Went down, formed two more highs to form a divergence, and then we went down. Okay, so we may chop around in here to form a divergence, maybe make a higher high, but in my opinion, I think it will just end up making a divergence and then seeing a reversal to the downside. Okay, so remember that the market makers want to try to squeeze the most money as they can out of this. Now, when we also place Fibonacci channels on this, we can see that we have perfectly used these levels as support and resistance many times. And you could see that over here we were overheated, we came down to support, consolidated a bit, and then we saw this shot right. We saw a quick shot back up here when the news got released right to the top of the channel. Okay, not only do we see a weekly topping tail, and not only do we see a tag of this upper band over here, but we also, what we can do is take a fib from the very peak over here down to this low, and we see that we have absolutely no weekly closure above the 0.618 on the linear scale. When we switch this to the logarithmic scale, we can see that we have no weekly closure above the 702. Okay, now as most of you know, the 702 and especially the 786 are big reversal points in crypto. Okay, crypto adheres to the 702 very well. So the fact that we tried to rally above this 702 eight times, 6 times, 6 weekly candles had tried to pierce this 702 and find a close above it. We did pierce it, wicking up to the 78.6% fib, but we failed to close above it. Okay, that's very significant. Now, let's take everything off this chart over here and let's analyze the wave count. Okay, so now the bullish scenario, the bullish scenario would be that we find a resolution above this level over here, okay, and find support above it. And we find support above this level. That would make that instead of this being a B, C correction, it would be an A, B, C correction rather than this being a third wave, this being your fourth, and then having a fifth wave like that. Okay? Okay, so over here you had your wave 1, come down for a wave 2. You have a third wave, and most people think that this is an A, B, C correction for a falling wedge, with a 3-wave move down, a 3-wave move up, and a 5-wave move to the downside. But we mustn't rule out the possibility that this could be a fourth wave, and then this is your fifth wave here, and now we're starting our ABC correction. Okay, so this over here would be your impulsive move to the downside. This over here would be your counter trend, and then you have a continuation of that trend. Okay, that's if this whole move over here is a third wave. Okay, however, we mustn't rule. However, considering this is a weekly topping tail, the Bitcoin spot ETF came out, and the fact that we had no weekly closure above the 702 leads me to believe that this move is corrective. Okay. Now, either way, right? If this is a third wave up rather than a C wave, it would still be likely that we come down a bit. Okay, so if this is a third wave, we would come down for a correction and then continue up for our fifth wave. Okay, so either way, I think we see a correction to the downside. So when we zoom in over here, we see we can map this out all the way back since the start of 2023. 5 waves up to complete your wave 1. You have your wave 2 over here. Another 5 waves to complete your third wave. Have an ABC as a flat pattern, and then have a very explosive fifth wave to the upside to create your A wave or your wave 1. You then have a long and complex wave 2 lasting almost half a year for your B wave or your second wave. Then you have another 5 waves up. Okay. This was your third wave, came down for a quick fourth wave, and then for your fifth wave you have an ending diagonal. You see how the waves are overlapping with each other? And within the subwaves there's an ABC within each one. ABC, 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 ABC. Okay? So now what we also see here is a broadening top pattern. So the price is below the bottom support of this broadening top. Okay, so the price would look like this. This is what the pattern is. That's what Bitcoin is doing right now. Okay? So we see that exact same thing over here. Okay, you see how the price is below the bottom support over here? Now, when we zoom in a little bit more and put our waves on here, go on the 1 hour time frame, we see that we've had our third wave down here, we've had our fourth wave, and now we're coming down for a subwave 5, either sweeping these lows over here at 41,700 and then going into oversold territory for a truncated wave 5, or having a move all the way down here where it would look something like this. At around that 40,000 to 38,000 region. Okay? And then I think everyone is expecting 38,000. So there is a possibility we reverse at any of the fibs above it. Okay, so I think we're just going to come down just enough to shake the market a little. And then what we're going to have is likely an B, C correction. And within this A, B, C correction, that's when alts fly, all right? All the money will be shifting into altcoins when Bitcoin, wherever this reverses, either over here or over here, when it has this ABC correction, that's when the money will be shifting into alts big time, just like 2017. Okay, now there is a possibility that instead of having an ABC correction up to any of the fibs over here, right, it would actually breach this high, and it would be something like this, where you have a move up to take out these highs, right? Chop around in here a bit. And then if this level fails to hold, then it's likely going to come down like that. And then this over here would be your A wave. This over here would be your B wave. And then up here would be your C wave. Okay? Bitcoin does things like this. Tries to fake out a lot of retail, and the people who control this market, they're trying to get the most money they can out of this. So Bitcoin is going to go into oversold territory very soon, judging by this wave count over here. Okay. We still have some inefficiency resting below this low. So there is a possibility we just have a very quick wick down here and then see a reversal. However, if we fail to hold 41,567 and 41,300 region, then it's likely we come down to take out these lows when we hit extremes over here before the ETF news. Okay? Towards 40,000 to 39,000 region. Then see a reversal. And in this reversal, alts are going to go crazy. Okay, you already see some alts going crazy already just because Bitcoin is chopping around over here. Now let's go take a look at Bitcoin dominance. And in my opinion, Bitcoin dominance has topped over here. We have a lot of demand over here, and we have your supply right over here. Okay, this is your supply. Okay, so Bitcoin is bound to go back up here to get some supply after it comes down here to the demand zone. Okay, we also have a rising wedge on Bitcoin dominance. A rising wedge, a 5-wave move to the upside within a C wave, a move up to the 50% from this high down to this low, and a touch of the 1.618 using the trend-based fib. Okay, so everything points to bearish Bitcoin dominance. We also see a head and shoulders over here. This is your left shoulder, this is your head, and this is your right shoulder. And your right shoulder comes up to backtest this rising wedge over here, or in other words, our ending diagonal of our C wave. Okay, so when we look here on the 1 hour time frame, and take out the RSI, we see bullish divergence. Okay, so you have equal lows over here, but then you're forming higher lows on the RSI. So there's a possibility Bitcoin dominance comes up here to the retracements, right? As Bitcoin does its thing, then comes back down to continue the trend, and that's when alts are going to really go berserk. Now, when we look at this, we see that we have your downtrend over here. We're currently within our counter trend, and we're going to continue that trend to the downside. Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed the Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance video. 2024 is the year of altcoins. We can clearly see that with this Bitcoin dominance chart I'm presenting to you. And yeah, I think Bitcoin has topped. That's my personal views. Uh, if it and if Bitcoin has topped, then altcoins are in for a really good surprise. People are in for a really good surprise in regards to their altcoins. Okay, but it's not going to be a straight drop down, right? It's going to go into oversold territory many times. And within this chop that we have over here, or whatever pattern plays out with Bitcoin, just know that most of the money will be shifting into altcoins. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out and take it easy. See you in the next one.